I am so excited to share this super easy to use system that has been a breakthrough for me, giving me more time and motivation to create. You're going to be surprised and hopefully delighted by just how simple it is. You can implement it right away, even today if you like. While my zone organization system is in no way perfect, it is what's working for me currently, and I've been using it for about 3 years now. I believe there may be something in it that could also be effective for you. You may have already guessed it includes zones, 4 to be exact. For this video, we'll focus on zones 1 and 2, which are the essential zones needed to get rolling in productivity. We'll also cover zones 3 and 4, which you may or may not need yet, but they sure are nice to have. Zones 3 and 4 also function to help keep zones 1 and 2 under control. You'll see what I mean in a few minutes. Zones 1 and 2 are the ones that made all the difference for me in both my teaching and home studios when it comes to resetting. Resetting has been the key to starting for me. Whether it's something new or a work in progress, making it easy to start keeps momentum going. I talk about the importance of the reset in my 3 tips for organizing in small spaces video. I created a playlist with all of my organizing tip videos for you, which I'll link below. I hope these tips that have helped me become more productive than I ever imagined I could be will make creating at home so much easier for you as well. Let's jump right in with zone number 1. Zone 1 is your workspace. The workspace is an area with a flat surface or easel, whichever you prefer, that allows you room to work and keep the tools and supplies you need handy while you work. I would love to know what kind of workspace you most often use and if that space is dedicated to making or if it's dual purpose. If your workspace is dual purpose, like a dining or kitchen table, I have some tips for making life easier when it comes time to set the table for dinner. As a matter of fact, since living in small spaces has been my reality my whole adult life, I really could make a video specifically about how I have managed this over the years. So let me know in the comments if that is a video you would like to see. I do have a dedicated space to do my making now that our kids are grown, which is wonderful, but it's still only big enough for me to work in. If I want to create with others, I migrate to our dining table in our kitchen or outside. Making with others is a great way to connect, but today we're going to focus on setting up a personal space that allows you to grow creatively and increase your productivity. In my studio, zone 1 is half of a high-top dining table. I find standing makes me more productive, but I do have a stool handy for when I need to be closer to my work. Let me know if you like to stand or sit. Only half of this table is dedicated to making because I need the other half to act as my desk where I can edit videos and do the other office type of work. The idea is to keep the area as clear as possible and not allow things to accumulate or crowd the space. I keep white paper down simply because it's better for filming. When I started filming, setting up my space using mise en place, much like a chef would do, gave me a system to make sure I had everything I needed for a project handy before pressing record. I have found this to be a great time-saving practice, whether I'm filming or not. I describe the setup process in a blog post on my website, but I would also be happy to make a video showing how I do it. If you're interested in seeing that, let me know in the comments. The smaller your zone 1 is, the more important it becomes to have a functional zone 2. Zone 2 has 2 parts. They are staples and specifics. Staples are items I use every time I make mixed media, like scissors, glue, and brushes. I have the space to keep all of my staples in my zone 2. But if your zones are mobile or dual function, you can limit these to your favorites. Specifics are items specific to the project I'm currently working on, like paint, paper, other element choices that change with every project. Specifics only hang out in zone 2 while I'm working on the project they relate to. I have found that keeping these items somewhat subdivided and contained allows me to easily move them from zone to zone. Keeping zone 2 limited to just staples and specifics helps me prevent becoming overwhelmed and avoiding my workspace. Everything is at my fingertips, so I don't have to stop working to hunt for what I need. It also gives me the opportunity to make decisions ahead of time, which I have found streamlines my process and actual work time. Working in manageable chunks of time or micro commitments makes creating much easier to fit in my life with all of the other important things. I'm planning to do a video about micro commitments and how they've helped this ADHD maker become more efficient and productive. So hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you want to be sure to catch those upcoming tips. Now that you see how incredibly simple setting up zones 1 and 2 can be, let's talk about zone 3. If you're brand new to making, you may not need a zone 3 yet, but most of us already have a zone 3. This is where everything else hangs out until you need it in zone 2. Zone 3 exists to keep the first two zones operational and clear of excess clutter. This could be a closet or even just a shelf. For me, this is the rest of my studio, which is admittedly still way overstocked. However, it is much improved, and I will claim that small victory. Using these zones has made resetting automatic so I can keep starting, which is key to productivity. It has been an easy to maintain system that has kept chaos from taking over my studio for years. Except during holiday creating, I need some tips from y'all for that, so please share those with our community of makers. This leads me to zone 4, which I also refer to as my backstock. This is where I keep seasonal supplies along with my extra brushes, tools, and smocks that I only use when I pack up to teach a class. I still keep these items organized and ready for when I do need them, but they no longer create visual clutter in my workspace. If you have too much stuff in your zones 1 through 3, you may benefit from creating a backstock or temporary storage area to free up mental and physical space for creating. Removing the excess from your workspace could also help you get over the hurdle of starting and make it easier to keep starting like it did for me. Then you can work through the excess as time allows. There are 2 videos in the Take Your Creative Time Back playlist that may help you when you're ready to tackle those piles. I hope this quick overview of my system gave you some ideas to become more productive and feel in control of your creative time. If you would like to see more in-depth videos about each zone, let me know in the comments. Please share this with a fellow maker, whether they need help or they're super organized. The more tips, the better, so bring them on. What works for you, and what part of the zone system do you see working in your creative life? Until next time, happy making.